noticed you were back.
Cool, got it. Okay, doke. I'm just gonna let my computer do its thing right there by itself. Okay, I'm back.
Como que te miras mejor también.
Wow.
I'm just kidding.
Because I'm all like this.
No.
Oh my gosh.
I forgot what I was saying. Something about Romeo and Juliet. Yeah, that was my point.
I thought Patroclus was gonna just like straight out sacrifice himself to force Achilles into fighting. So I wasn't expecting it to go down the way it did.
It was interesting how he was doing really good when he was fighting. And I was kind of hopeful, and I was like, you know what, maybe he will survive. And then Hector came, and that was his name, right? Hector?
Yeah,
and
Hector Zeroni. Why did I low-key, when he was fighting, I low-key thought it was all accidental. Like, you know, when you see a movie and they're just like swinging a sword and like have no idea what they're doing, but they're like killing people. That's literally how I envisioned it.
So I have a question. What actually happened when Patroclus encountered Apollo? Because I was listening to it, so it kind of just went through, and I should have gone back to listen like more carefully, but I was kind of confused.
What I understood,
when he like fell, he was climbing something. Was that real, or was that like it made it seem like it was an illusion or something?
I felt like maybe it was kind of real because in their like world we have to believe the gods are real, but I thought like maybe the gods were also helping him when he was fighting, like maybe someone from their side like was assisting him. What I understood was that he was climbing the wall because he was kind of like on a fighter's high and was like, I'm just gonna get hell and end this. Yeah. But then Apollo, who is protecting the Trojan side, kind of just plucked him off and was like, no, you can't do that, and put him down. But he kept trying. So I think the second or third time, like Apollo kind of like threw him down, like he didn't care as much, you know, and that's when the Trojans found him.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I'm like, this just seems so like fantasy compared to like, I feel like everything else. I mean, there was the whole like Tethys or Thetis showing up, and that's kind of like, oh, I mean, it's some sort of fantasy stuff because you know, like the goddesses and the gods and stuff like that. But the way they were describing that part, I'm like, wait, is this really happening? Where like the god is like, nah, and like pushing him down or something. I thought that was interesting, which confused me a bit.
Yeah, when he dropped, I thought he cracked his head open because it said something like his shell had split, but I realized it was the armor. And I thought at first maybe Apollo dropped him more gently because he didn't want Achilles to get mad. And then maybe the second time he was like, forget it, you know, but I think it was more just his armor just bursting. So I really wish he would have escaped. I felt like that was a sad way for him to die.
Yeah, he just didn't have an option.
Yeah.
Let's see. That's weird. What's her name?
Briseis.
Yes, I did not see that coming. Where I mean, I knew he was super kind to her and all that stuff, but to the point where she's like, let's have a kid, let's get married, let's be together, kind of thing. I was like, whoa, what? And I don't want to say she's the one where it went wrong, but that's kind of where it went wrong, right? When Patroclus was like, no, they can't take her and all that stuff. And I mean, what he did is right, but I guess also Achilles' pride, because he was being dumb.
His hubris. Yeah. I felt that towards the end of the book, we're starting to see how Achilles and Patroclus, like, in a way had similar upbringings, but then became like very severely like put as opposites, because Patroclus was nice and was like, let's rescue the girls, you know, let's keep them at camp. And Achilles, the minute something didn't go his way, he basically was throwing a fit, in my opinion. And I think that it showed that he wasn't really capable of compassion the way Patroclus was, which is very mortal of Patroclus and very godlike of Achilles, because they don't really care as long as they feel important.
Which I feel like you can say is due to their upbringing.
It could be because Patroclus didn't get like praised the same way that Achilles did as he was growing up. So maybe he was capable of feeling more empathy. Like he wasn't as spoiled.
I don't really have notes because, like I said, I was listening to it, but at some point I was reading, like towards the beginning, and I didn't realize I wrote on a sticky note saying like Hector, because you know how they kept saying like, oh, Hector hasn't done anything to me. Hector hasn't done anything to me, and then we find out that Achilles had done something to Hector's like family, and I wrote down, I was like, oh, he's probably gonna, because they kept repeating it, I'm like, I feel like Hector's gonna do something to Patroclus, but I had forgotten about it until like I went back to it right now, and I was like, oh, how did I not remember? Yeah, when I was listening to it, I was like, oh, super surprised. That's interesting.
It's very ironic, to be sure,
Mhm.
that Achilles kept saying that, like it said in the book, and he had already done something to like hurt, like, you know, Hector's feelings to say, or his side.
I was amazed that the war went on for 10 years. Like, I get it. Achilles was obviously not trying to kill Hector because he's trying to stay alive longer. But 10 years? What are you doing for 10 years? I don't know. That's like crazy. That many people to kill, or you're just hiding?
Yeah.
Yeah, like is the woman they're fighting to get back even like good looking anymore?
Yeah, exactly. And we never found out what happened to her.
Yeah, true.
Was it actually, did she end up picking the guy like her own will? She's like, no, I want to go with this man. Or like, was it actually her being kidnapped? Or yeah.
In the character descriptions in the back, it described Menelaus, which was the husband, right? And it said that after he took her back because of her beauty. And I was like, come on, bro. Like, really? Get a new wife.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
I wish we could have read the end of the battle too, even if Achilles and Patroclus were not in there, just to see like how the author would have described it. I like how she wrote.
I found it interesting that once Patroclus died, he was the main narrator, and then it kept going, and I was like, oh, is it Achilles now? But it wasn't. He was still somehow there. What is that blue light with Crystal?
Oh yeah, why did I think that was so funny that he's like, oh, he's right next to me. I can feel him. Like, even when I'm gone, he's still like, whatever. He's crying over my dead body. Like,
yeah.
I just thought it was crazy.
That's gross.
Sorry, I'm in my car, ladies, guys.
Okay, I'm like, what am I looking at? It's kind of scary.
The ghost.
And then Achilles' death was really anticlimactic. So he battled all these people, and beat them, and then someone just shoots an arrow at him when he's not paying attention.
Yeah. Yeah, it was funny how I described it. Like Apollo's like giving a little puff, like, and it perfectly made. Oh man.
Let's see.
And then his son came,
His
which
son
was
was
pretty shocking.
Yeah.
He was not what I was expecting.
Like the way he acted.
Yeah. Do you think his mom purposely raised him to be kind of like heartless and not soft, like the complete opposite of Achilles? Because she's like, oh, he was, you know, like what he should have done, right? What Achilles should have done was to take down Troy.
I think so. I think because the reason why or one of the reasons why Achilles ended up dying was because of what's his name, Patroclus, like his love for him.
Mhm.
I mean, I
Like,
think
how is that coincidental that his son is like 12, like perfect, like I guess fighting age at the same time, the same year of his death?
Mhm.
Like, that's just coincidental, like too coincidental.
yeah.
Yeah, they said it was the fate that he had to be there for Troy to fall. And I remember earlier they were like, oh, it's too soon for Troy to fall.
Mhm.
I think it was just fate for that to happen.
They were waiting for him to be that
Mature.
age. Yeah.
Yeah. Probably.
What did you think of Agamemnon and how he was behaving? He also had a lot of hubris going on and just being a brat.
Oh my god, I took a wrong turn. Where the fuck am I?
He was the main man in the war, right? Like
Kind of, yeah.
the one that I think when they were first doing the raids, Achilles was like, oh no, I'm better, but I guess he has a little higher rank, but I'm the better one, so he came in like second or something, right?
Kind of, yeah, because there were some
Yeah.
spoils given up and it's supposed to go to the best warrior, but Aggie kept it for
like
himself.
Agamemnon or something.
Agamemnon, yeah. He kept it for himself instead of giving it to Achilles because I think he was greedy and he didn't want to show that Achilles was better.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't like his attitude.
No.
Yeah. And the way he was like talking when he wanted Briseis and saying like, oh, because I had this one girl, now you have to give me her. And I don't know, it was disgusting. And I know I get it. Back that's how they were like talk about things like that, but it was, I didn't like them.
It's very
And I feel like
misogynistic.
that's why,
It's very misogynistic.
yeah, and I think that's why I forgot who he was because of that gap. And I was like, okay. And then I started listening. I was like, who is this man? I don't like him. And then I was like, oh, that's right. It's that one dude. Yep.
Okay, guys, I have to go. I just got to my location, but hold on. This is way too dark. I thought the book was really good. Liked it. Gave it about 4 stars. Not usually what I go for, but liked it. And yeah. So I guess I'll just watch out for the Instagram to know how much to read on the next one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye.
And I'll rewatch the second half of this on YouTube.
Have a good night.
Take care, Crystal.
Bye.
Bye. All right, let me see what else. I didn't really take very many notes either.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of how Briseis confronted Achilles after when she was trying to clean the body of Patroclus? I thought Achilles was too mean. Like, he's making it all about himself, and I understand that everyone grieves, but I'm like, she's literally just trying to clean the body and make it like more presentable or nice. And he's like, no, like, don't. It's too
That's the one thing that I think became more defined towards the end, how greedy he always was. And I mean, we had seen it in the beginning, how it's always about him. He's the greatest fighter and this and that. But even when she was like, you're not the only one who loved him, and he's like, no, like, get out, like, leave him, he's mine. And it was kind of also nasty. I mean, he's dead, I get it. And he doesn't want to let him go, but he's like, his corpse is just there.
Yeah.
Like,
That's kind
and
of
he's
perverse.
hugging him, and I was just like, whoa, sir. But I get it. He really, really loved him and was sad and grieving. Yeah. There's some other questions in here.
It was interesting that Thetis is the one that ends up reuniting the ashes or whatever and giving Patroclus some peace.
Yeah, what happens at the very end?
At the very
Is that
end,
what happens?
you keep hearing like the story from Patroclus's perspective. And Achilles' son didn't want to include Patroclus like properly in the burial, so his spirit was kind of not put to rest. And Achilles is already in the underworld, but he's still there. I think his ashes are there kind of somehow. I also read it kind of fast. But but Patroclus's spirit, I think he's thinking things and sending like vibes, and so he can reach some people like Odysseus. Odysseus tried to convince Achilles' son to like rejoin the ashes so Patroclus could be put to rest. Achilles' son said no because Patroclus was like just common. He wasn't anyone special. Odysseus said technically yes he was because he was also born a prince, but Achilles' son was in denial about like his dad loving Patroclus. So then Patroclus is just kind of like chilling there in the tomb, and he's sensing people coming to check out the tomb of Achilles, and it says Achilles outside because Achilles' son did not want Patroclus' name on there at all. And then eventually Thetis comes, and Patroclus' spirit calls to her, and he gives her like some nicer memories of Achilles, like from when he was young, when he was running, his golden hair, playing the lyre, stuff like that. And I think somehow like actually does soften Thetis' heart, and she ends up putting Patroclus' name on the tomb as well. And I think now that it's like known that he's there, his spirit can go with Achilles. And then some of the last lines are kind of like two figures, like hands reaching towards each other or something like that. So they're finally reunited in the underworld. It was cute.
Oh, that is cute.
Surprising that it was Thetis. I might have thought the son would have been like, okay, yeah, but I think because Thetis raised him to be so cold-hearted, like she wanted Achilles to be, like he couldn't do it. And it was interesting that maybe Thetis's heart got softened after seeing two sons killed, I think. Like maybe she thought, well, I raised this one another way and he still didn't stay alive, is what I'm thinking. And so then her heart softened and she was able to reunite them. She probably felt a little guilty too, I think.
And maybe like realizing that, yeah, maybe the son was how she wanted Achilles to be, and then in the reality she probably realized like, oh, maybe just being heartless isn't that great. So I think also at that point she's like, you know what, at least they Achilles can be happy and be with Patroclus, and you know they can be together because you're like, go, he waits for you. Oh.
I wonder too, I feel like Achilles' son was a manifestation of like the very worst parts of Achilles. And at least at the beginning, he wasn't as conceited or spoiled that we could see, and he was capable of love, even if I don't agree with how he went along with it, but I felt like the son was even more cruel. So maybe Thetis realized like she messed up more with the second son or the grandson, if that makes sense.
So was she involved in the grandson's life?
In whose life?
Her grandson, Achilles' son.
Yeah. Remember how Achilles was married to that random princess and then he got her pregnant? When the baby was born, she took him away.
Oh yeah.
So she
He
raised
said
him.
that he lived in the underworld.
Yeah.
Or the water, whatever.
I felt kind of bad for Thetis at that point too, because I'm like, well, you wanted your sons to get famous, but now they're both dead. So it's like, well, what do you want in a life son or a famous son? I don't know. I felt bad for her.
All for fame. All for fame.
And I was reading in the bio of Thetis that when there was a prophecy made that her son would be really powerful, the gods kind of like, that's why they made her marry a mortal, because they wanted the son to be weaker. That way he wouldn't overpower like the main gods. I thought that was kind of crafty. So she just got like taken advantage of, because the dad of Achilles kind of like, forced himself upon her because the gods said it was okay. And the gods were really trying to protect themselves, so a more powerful son than they would not be born. That's why Achilles was born half and half. Again,
Wow.
misogynistic again, which I felt bad for reading.
Hmm. Wow. The little bio of her is interesting. I didn't know they would tell you these things.
I have to confess, in my Kindle version, I was reading the bios, and I think the Kindle version has more bios than the book I currently have.
Oh, really?
And I accidentally read the ending last time before.
Oh, while you were reading the
Because it talks
The
about
bio?
Patroclus' death. So I knew they were going to die. Like, I figured they were going to die, but I didn't know who would die first. And I'm like, oh my gosh, now I know what happens.
oh, I see.
I spoiled it for myself. But it was still good. Like, I didn't know exactly how if he would die. So that was still
Mm-hmm. Oh, Perseus is cute.
He's cute. Yeah.
Are those in the audiobook?
I don't think so, because I was listening the last section, like the last two sections, I was listening on the audiobook on Audible, and it just ended right where the book ends, where it's like, oh, she says he waits for you, and then they talk about the two shadows reaching through the hopeless heavy dusk and blah blah blah, and then it just goes off and they just say like, oh, this was brought to you by blah 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 or whatever. So I don't think they do the bios in the audiobook.
I can
Which
send you
is sad.
pictures, Julie. But it's interesting here because I think there's more in my Kindle version than this book, because I remember there was one from Patroclus, and that's where I read that he dies. But this one has much fewer. It does not include Patroclus.
That's
There's different
interesting.
editions, I guess.
Gods and immortals, and then mortals and heroes.
But yeah,
Yeah, it doesn't
I like this book.
include them. I like it. I think I would give it a 4. There was moments where, I mean, I like Greek mythology and all that stuff. I'm just not very informed about it based on like previous knowledge. So I think part of that got me like not as interested to continue reading the book. Sometimes I was like, I'll read it later. I'll read it later. So that's why I'm giving it a 4. I mean, it was interesting, but that's just, I think I would have enjoyed it more if I was really, really into Greek mythology and all that stuff. And I like it, but I'm not like obsessed with it. So that was a good book though. Pretty nice. What do you give it, Corina?
I think
Oh,
I'll
Julie.
give it a 5 because I like fantasy. I like Greek mythology. When I got interested in 6th grade, I was like, "Whoa, this is so interesting," and I read a lot about it. And I like books with battle scenes. Like some of the fantasy books I read before, like have these like intense battle scenes, and sometimes they're gory, but I like them. So it reminded me of those kinds of books that I really enjoy.
I'd rate it lower. I think like a 2.5. For the same reason. I didn't like the battle scenes. I found it kind of hard to follow all the characters. Like so many characters. I prefer to like follow just a few characters. And
Yeah.
I guess we had a few main ones, but it was
The names though.
just yeah, the names and like I don't know. I prefer more of like a mystery kind of element. So just the genre I didn't love, but I like the Greek mythology. It just because I don't know a lot of Greek mythology, it made me want to learn more, but it wasn't like super informative.
Yeah, I
That
feel
makes
like
sense.
for the Greek mythology, like I like it, but I'm not super interested in it to like, I'll say maybe I'll continue to read into it, but I probably won't. Like I know myself and I won't look for it. But it's interesting. It's just yeah. It's a tough one. But it was good. It was very well written. And it wasn't confusing like the plot. I was confused about the war being for so long and like what are you doing? And I don't know. I don't know. I don't read a lot of action either, so maybe if I read more, maybe the wars go that long. Who knows?
Yeah, I read this series when I was in middle and high school called Aragon, and it's like a fantasy world with like elves, dragons, kind of like Lord of the Rings, but different. I haven't read Lord of the Rings actually, but there's three and there's super fat books, and each one has like this big dragon on the cover, and a lot of it is battle scenes, and that's where I learned to like it because it's just so dramatic. I think.
Yeah, even the audiobook comparing like, because I think when I first started listening to not this section but another section, I was like, let me speed up the little tempo thing, so it was reading it quick. And this time I was like, no, let me slow it down so I can really grasp what they're saying. And I feel like in the battle sections, they were like, and I was like, wait, did I speed up the tempo? Like, wait, what's going on? But it was because they're obviously trying to be like, oh, this happened. And now this over here. And yeah, it was good.
It's very fast paced. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I like movies like that too, which is probably why I like this genre. Because growing up, like my parents would watch a lot of those types of movies. So blood and guts.
What was that movie? Troy?
Yeah, I'm gonna rewatch it now that we finished. It's a good movie.
I want to watch it. I'm gonna make a note of that. The Troy movie.
Rico, are you still listening?
Yeah.
What do you rate the story? What you've read of it so far? You're on mute, Rico. Oh, okay. He knows.
I didn't get very far, so I don't think it'd be fair for me to give it a score. But from what I did read, I did like it.
Okay. How far did you get, Rico? It's okay. We're not gonna judge.
I got up to, they were still at the cave. Or actually, no, they were just about to leave. And I think, I can't remember if they were pretending to be girls. But it was, they slept with other girls or something, and they were mad at each other sometimes. And then Achilles was like, I slept with her because my mom said she would tell you where I'm at.
My mom told me.
Pretty much that's what he said. Yeah, that's how far I got.
See, I don't know. I feel like I like more the first section than the second section. Maybe I'm not that into action in books.
I think the first section had like more buildup, and then the second half was just like straight up battle, 10 years at Troy, like, plague, all this stuff. So I can
everyone died.
Everyone dies.
Oh, and he did. Patroclus did end up helping with the medicine. That was cool. We were like, what happened, dude? You learned all this stuff and you're not using it? And then next thing you know,
I thought I was too judgy with Patroclus when I read that, because he ends up like going into battle because Achilles doesn't want to, and I'm like, okay, you're making yourself useful after all. But then he died, and I was like, no, why did you die?
Yeah, that was awesome.
It was epic.
It would be a good movie.
Oh, I was looking up stuff, but I think it's maybe like, fan made or something, because I saw that there was trailers. Yeah, you know how people who are really into the book or obsessed with a certain either book, well, it's mostly books, I guess. They make their own little trailer, and then they make you believe it's an actual movie. So I saw some of those, not the actual trailer, but I saw some of them pop up. But I don't think it's a movie, right? Anybody know?
I don't think so, but I know there's a ton of sites for fan fiction. I used to read it in high school too, like Harry Potter fan fiction. There's sites where you just like look up by author or by title, and then like all these spin-off stories from fans, which is kind of cool. Some of them are pretty good.
Alternate endings and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, I love that world. I used to be in it when I was younger. This is fun. So yeah, that was that book.
That
was a good one.
commences the book. No, that
I got this one.
concludes.
Today I picked it up and it doesn't seem that bad.
It's one of the shorter ones, and we have a longer time to read it, so I think it'll be good. Let me get mine.
Yeah, because we have, let's see.
And since it was big, I was like, if we pick that one, I'm glad we have a longer time because it's really fat. But it's huge.
Let's see.
I kind of like how you did it. So, Karina, did you pick these 4 books and then?
Yeah, Judith decided to give me the gift of picking in the horror genre for Halloween, which I was really excited about. So I kind of like curated a selection. I whittled it down to 4, and then I like the Google form because I'm just such a nerd. I love the graphs, and I felt like it was pretty easy as well.
I like the Google form
Yeah.
as well.
Looking at it every hour.
I know. I'm like, let me see. And I like that I could send email reminders to the people who hadn't put it yet. Like,
I like that
journey.
too. Yeah. And I think it works for me because I do check my email. I don't know why I check my email so frequently. I don't get much, but I'm pretty up to date. So I like that. And I feel like maybe we could continue doing it that way.
If you like it, it's very easy to recycle those. I'll show you how.
Yeah.
Or I can also
I think
help with
it's-
it if you want.
yeah.
I love forms.
I think it's cool because, like, I don't really care that my books never pick, but some people might care. So if they
Mhm.
get to, if they pick like 4 books and we vote, but then everyone gets a chance to like have their own book or whatever.
Yeah. I like that.
I like that too.
I feel like it'd be good to
It makes it a little more equitable in a way.
alternate.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We could do pitches every other month, and then like the alternate month, like we just rotate on like, okay, it's Rico's turn, pick 4 books or pick a few books, and I can
Yeah.
help with the form.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
if people like, I know some of us can come up with 4 books and other people are just like, oh, I only have 1. Because we've done it previously where they're like, well, I don't really have a book. And sometimes I don't have books that I'm like, I'm really like into or want to suggest.
Mhm.
So we could do like a little heads up, like, hey, it's your turn. Do you have 4 books? Do you want us to give you 1 book or something like that? And then we can go from there. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I really, really like the Google form.
Oh, sweet.
And the little graphs were cute. It's nice because then I still do the math, but it's easier.
Confirmation. That's what I give my students quizzes on, so I'm an expert.
Yeah.
It
And it
reminds
just,
me of on Chase, or like if you have like a budgeting thing, like of all the categories.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of.
You're spending this much money. Don't spend that much. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So since we have the meeting this Wednesday, I feel like it might be rushed. What do you guys think, to do the meeting Sunday, or are you guys okay with that?
I
feel like
think maybe if we skip to the next Sunday would be my preference, just because I'm being selfish and I'm going to Vegas this weekend. But Julie's
Yes.
also out of town, right? So
exactly.
it might be a bit
yeah, that
crunchy.
makes sense.
Crunchy.
Yeah.
I mean crunched.
Yeah.
Crunched, not crunchy.
So maybe
And-
next weekend better.
Yeah.
It's 420
we
pages.
have-
Oh
You have
wow.
400?
420 pages. That's not bad. It's like 105 every week, which is what we've been doing, kind of, right?
Well, October has 5.
Okay.
I think. Wait, hold on. Yeah, so we're skipping the 26th. So it'd be the 3rd. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. We're ending on Halloween, right?
I think that's what had been proposed because Halloween's on a Sunday this year, right?
Yeah. So it'd be 5.
We can break it into 5 and that would make the reading nice and short. I'm okay with that too. Because we still have this week is still September, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Is your book the book that I posted?
It's this one.
Okay, it's tinier, huh?
Yeah, it's small.
Okay. So
Hey everyone, I'm gonna log off.
Okay, bye, Rika.
bye,
There you
Rika.
go.
Good night.
I'll remove you because I'm the host. Just kidding. He already removed himself.
Because I have my book. Does your book end in? This is weird.
I'm trying not to read it. You do it.
I
You
know,
just
me
read too
either.
fast.
It's hard. Okay, so I have 351 pages.
Do it by chapters, not? Do we have a table of contents? Oh no, we
Do you
don't.
have one?
No, I don't.
I don't have one.
I wonder if we can find a list online, like how many chapters are in this book.
So you said you have how many pages?
420.
420. I have 351. So
What if you do like 100 pages in your book and see whereabouts that lands you, and I'll do the same for mine.
you have like 84 and I have divided by 5 is 70.
I'm trying to look at it like this so I don't read it.
So 70 pages. I'm dividing mine by 5 and I end up with like 70. Whoa, this is weird. What are the chapters?
They are on mine, they just like keep going, kind of like in the Shining. where it
Yeah,
says text
they
and
just
each
keep
chapter
going with
rank.
numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
That's
that
ugly.
sucks.
Mr. King,
That's-
please get it together. Just kidding. He's gonna get out.
Oh,
Uh,
oh
It's
boy.
gonna be hard
Okay,
for the
so-
audio, but
Oh yeah. I think they'll announce it. I think it makes it hard for us when we're looking at it to try and figure out where it ends. And try not to read ahead because it's right there.
Oh, Judith, should I stop recording now so the rendering of it doesn't take as long?
Oh yeah, go for it.
All right.